A few years ago, I believed rich people were simply lucky. I thought they had better connections, better opportunities, better timing. And honestly, part of me resented them. Because while they seemed to move through life effortlessly, I was struggling, working hard, getting tired, watching my income disappear every month. Then one day, I met a millionaire. Not online, not in a motivational video, in real life. And during that conversation, I said something so simple, so honest, that it completely changed the direction of my financial life. Not because of magic, not because he handed me money, but because of what happened next. That conversation exposed something most people never realize about money. The gap between rich and poor is often not just income. It's perspective. And once your perspective changes, your decisions begin to change. And eventually, your entire life changes. Part 1. The life I was living. At the time, my life looked normal from the outside. I had work. I had responsibilities. I stayed busy. But financially, I felt trapped. Every month followed the same cycle. Work. Get paid. Pay bills. Start over. No matter how hard I worked, I never seemed to move forward. And the worst part wasn't the lack of money. It was the feeling. The feeling that life was happening to me instead of for me. I watched other people build businesses, travel, invest, grow. Meanwhile, I was surviving. And slowly, without realizing it, I developed a dangerous mindset. I started believing wealth belonged to other people. People born into better situations. People with special talent. People with connections. Not people like me. That belief quietly controlled everything. Because when you believe something is impossible for you, you stop looking for opportunities. You stop trying. And eventually, you become comfortable with limitation. Part 2. The meeting. One evening, I was invited to a small business event. I almost didn't go. I felt underdressed, out of place, unimportant. Everyone there seemed confident, successful, connected. Then I noticed an older man standing quietly near the back of the room. No flashy watch, no loud behavior, no need to impress anyone. But people treated him differently. You could feel it. They listened when he spoke. They respected him. Later, I found out he had built and sold multiple businesses. He was a millionaire. Now normally, I would have avoided someone like that. I would have assumed they were too important to talk to me. But something happened. Maybe frustration. Maybe curiosity. Maybe exhaustion from staying financially stuck. Whatever it was, I walked over and started a conversation. At first, it was awkward. Small talk. Simple questions. Then finally, I said the words that changed everything. I looked at him and said, "How do people like you think so differently about money?" That was it. Not a genius question. Not some perfect networking line. Just honesty. And surprisingly, he smiled. Part 3. The answer I never expected. He looked at me for a moment and said something I will never forget. He said, "Most people work for money. Wealthy people build systems that work without them." At first, I didn't fully understand. So he explained. He asked me, "If you stop working tomorrow, does your income stop?" I said yes. He nodded. Then he said, "That means you don't own income. You rent it." That sentence hit me hard. Because he was right. Every month, I started from zero. No assets. No systems. No leverage. Just effort. And effort alone has limits. That conversation shattered something in my mind. For the first time, I realized wealthy people often focus less on working harder and more on creating leverage, businesses, content, investments, digital products, systems, things that continue producing value after the initial work is done. That single perspective changed how I saw money forever. Part 4. The real difference between rich and poor. Most people think the rich simply earn more. But that's only part of the story. The deeper difference is how they think about time. Poor and middle-class people are usually taught to work hard, stay safe, avoid risk, depend on a paycheck. But wealthy people often ask different questions. How can this scale? How can this work without me? How can I multiply my effort? That's leverage. And once I understood that, I started seeing the world differently. I realized social media wasn't just entertainment. It was distribution. I realized skills weren't just useful for jobs. They were tools for building income. I realized the internet had created opportunities previous generations never had. But most people were too distracted to notice, including me. Part 5. The biggest lie about money. During the conversation, I asked him another question. I said, "What's the biggest mistake people make with money?" Without hesitation, he answered. They spend their lives trying to look rich instead of becoming wealthy. That sentence exposed something uncomfortable. Many people buy things not because they need them, but because they want validation. Expensive clothes, phones, cars, lifestyle upgrades. Meanwhile, they own nothing that produces income. The millionaire explained that real wealth is often quiet, because wealthy people understand the difference between assets and liabilities, attention and ownership, consumption and investment. That changed me. I began questioning my habits. Why was I spending money trying to impress people who weren't paying my bills? Why was I investing so much energy into appearance instead of skill building? That realization alone saved me from years of financial stagnation. Part 6. The power of asking better questions. One thing surprised me during the conversation. The millionaire did not speak like someone obsessed with showing off. Instead, he asked thoughtful questions. Questions about systems, behavior, long-term thinking. That taught me something important. Your questions shape your future. Most people ask, "How do I make quick money?" But wealthy people ask, "How do I build something sustainable?" Most people ask, "How do I survive this month?" But wealthy people ask, "How do I create freedom in the next decade?" The quality of your financial life often reflects the quality of your thinking. And your thinking is revealed through your questions. That night, I stopped searching for shortcuts. I started searching for understanding. Part 7. What I did after the conversation. Here's the important part. Nothing changed overnight. I didn't suddenly become rich. But my behavior changed. And behavior compounds. I started learning high-income skills. I spent less time consuming and more time creating. I stopped wasting money trying to look successful. I became obsessed with learning. Marketing. Storytelling. Communication. Business. Digital platforms. Investing. I also began paying attention to where my time was going. Because the millionaire told me something powerful. Show me where your time goes, and I'll show you your future. That sentence forced me to become honest with myself. Hours wasted scrolling, complaining, comparing, all while claiming I wanted a better life. Eventually, I started building instead of only dreaming. And slowly, things changed. Part 8. Why most people stay stuck. The truth is, most people never change financially because they never change mentally. They want different results while keeping the same habits, the same thinking, the same environment, the same fears. But growth requires discomfort. The millionaire once told me, most people stay poor because comfort feels safer than possibility. That hurt. Because it was true. Many people avoid opportunities because they fear embarrassment. They don't start businesses because they fear failure. They don't create content because they fear judgment. They don't invest in themselves because they fear uncertainty. But staying the same also has a cost. A hidden cost. Years passing. Potential wasted. Dreams delayed. That conversation forced me to understand something painful. Financial growth requires identity growth. You cannot build a different future while remaining the same person mentally. Part 9. The lesson that changed everything. Near the end of the conversation, I asked him one final question. I said, if you lost everything today, what would you focus on first? He smiled again. Then he said, I would rebuild my ability to create value. Not money. Value. Because money follows value. That sentence completely changed how I viewed success. Instead of obsessing over money directly, I began focusing on becoming more useful, learning skills, helping people, communicating clearly, solving problems. Because the marketplace rewards value. And once you understand that, you stop chasing money emotionally. You start building value strategically. That shift changes everything. Looking back now, the words I said to that millionaire were simple, but they opened a door. Not a door to instant riches. A door to a new way of thinking. And honestly, that's what most people are truly missing. Not intelligence. Not talent. Perspective. Because once your perspective changes, your actions change. And once your actions change consistently, your future changes too. The biggest financial breakthroughs often begin with uncomfortable conversations. A question. A realization. A shift in thinking. And maybe that's why you're watching this video right now. Because part of you already knows. The life you want will require a different mindset than the one keeping you stuck. If you enjoyed this video, subscribe for more deep lessons on money, psychology, success, and financial freedom. And in the comments, answer this question. What's one belief about money you had to unlearn? Sometimes changing one belief can change an entire future.